Hello, everyone. You're welcome to this very important online session. It's really an information session where we'll be sharing a fantastic opportunity that is available to us, particularly in the diaspora. This has been brought to you by the collaborative effort of TenderMate Consulting and ANE Global. ANE Global is a social enterprise that facilitates economic development for Black-owned and operated businesses, where TenderMate Consulting is a management consulting firm that has services including technology and has recently focused on supporting small and medium enterprises. My name is Emmanuel Adebola, and I'll be making the presentation. I am the Executive Director at ANE Global, and I'm also the CEO at TenderMate Consulting, and you'll see how the two work together very shortly. All right, so moving on, the purpose of this presentation, as I did mention, this is an information session brought to you by the two organizations, and this is following a request by officials of the African Union 6th region, which is the one that deals or manages and coordinates the activities of people in the diaspora, where we're actually helping to facilitate the identification, qualification, business planning, and application process for a project financing that will be backed by Afrexim Bank. The presentation will be delivered with the support of African Union Region 6, which is ably represented by the Ontario Premier, the person of Vivian Adeoye. She will be talking at some point. And I also have a business partner, Dio, who is the CEO of ADEX Consulting. He would also be making a contribution at some point. Can I just confirm again that you can all hear me, if you don't mind?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
So moving on, Africa, I mean, this is based on the economic forecast 2024 for Africa. And in order to do this, we consulted different organizations, namely the Economist Intelligence. We also consulted African Development Bank, as well as the World Bank, just so that we could be sure that we had the information that was supportive. And as you can see, the forecast for Africa in 2024 does look promising. There was a slowdown toward the end of 2023, but it has picked up with GDP projected to rise to 2024, 3.7 in 2024, and even better in the following year. Interestingly, Africa will be the second fastest growing major region after Asia. So that there's some positive signs. However, as you all know, there are some challenges relating to security. There's some challenges relating to foreign exchange, and there's some challenges, currency adjustment, and some other things actually make Africa still a cautious environment for anybody who wants to invest. And that is the reality. There's no point sugarcoating it, because I'm talking to people who are largely of African descent. So yes, on a high level, it looks like very promising, but it will require a lot of work to actually get us to the desired destination. Moving on, we have a strong economic performance, and obviously, Africa has demonstrated some level of resilience. However, there's still a need for strong and bold reforms in order to meet the development financial needs that we have within Africa. And what has been suggested now by the African Development Bank is that there needs to be a concerted effort to provide funding for what is known as the Sustainable Development Goals. And these are areas like education, energy, product enhancing technology, innovation, as well as productive transport infrastructure. These are the areas that together form what is known as Sustainable Development Goals, which area Africa is trying to work on at different levels. And I believe that the African Union, which is made up of 55 countries, is working to put this at the front burner. But what is also recognized is that even if all of these African states put their money together, it will still not meet the requirement because you can see that $402 billion annually up until 2030 is what is required to meet these demands, which is really significant. And so there's a request for support from complementary sources, from external bodies to make the funding available. But what we've also added now, the last line which has been added by us at Tendermate Consulting, is that there's also the need to leverage the support of the people in the diaspora, either through skills or through other resources that can be put to play, brought to bear, to ensure that Africa does meet its goals. Africa currently has suffered a massive brain drain, particularly in countries like Nigeria and countries, in fact, I think across the continent, there have been, in the last 3 to 5 years, there has been a significant hemorrhaging of skills and resources, and where we are. Moving on, African Union has an arm called Region 6, which actually caters for the interests of people who are in the diaspora. It's led by a gentleman called Dr. Macaulay Kalu, who's the Secretary General, and he shuttles between Canada and as well as different parts of the world. But he's ably represented in this presentation by the Ontario Premier, who's Vivian Adeoye, who will be giving us some information to assist us in this exercise. It's my understanding that following about a year's worth of negotiation and dialoguing, they were able to successfully get Afreximbank to give a consent that they will prioritize projects that are put forward by African Union with a view to ensuring that we fast track the delivery. Because to be honest with you, Afreximbank is not one of the fastest places to get, they have the funding, but the bureaucracy is so complicated that it takes a real effort to get the money out there. However, they've made an allocation of 2 to 3 billion USD to support innovation, particularly with franchising that would benefit people of African descent. And so that is been made available. African Union has done a great job of facilitating that. Now they're looking for how to deliver, and that's how they engage us. But with that, before going further, I would like Vivian Adeoye to make some comments here, because I think it will be important to understand what is at stake and what they're looking for. So over to you, Vivian.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emma. I am so honored and grateful to be here today. I appreciate it. For those people that are here right now and the people that will listen to it later on. I think what ANE is doing is great in our community, and I really applaud all the leadership in the house. Thank you so much for your effort and your sacrifices. So my name is Vivian Adeoye, as have been introduced. I'm the Director General for Ontario under African Union 6th Region. So my duty is equivalent to Premier of Ontario, as we said, but I'm being called Director General. That is the name of the title. So what I mean, like Mr. Iman said, we have been working so hard. The Executive of African Union 6th Region Global Office have been working so hard to make the life of our people, both at home and abroad, easier. And we know that without the economic development, there's nowhere we can compete with other races. And that's why Afreximbank comes in, because I mean, it's not that people of African descent are dull, or they are not smart or intelligent, or they are not innovative people, but most of the obstacles on our way is the fund and sometimes the research as well. So, and this is why the Afreximbank is so important to us. And they have extended their reach not only to the African continent, they are also reached to the partner with the Caribbean. In fact, last year, last year September, I think around that summer anyway, they opened a shop in Barbados. And right now they did a pilot program where there's a direct flight from Barbados to Nigeria and some African country just to see how it goes. So, and also last week they are in the Bahamas, right? So Bahamas having meeting with CARICOM, or the African Caribbean's leader. How can they help the growth? Because there's people of African descent. It does not start from only people living in Africa. I mean, they are counting the people of African descent that have been taken away, either voluntarily or involuntarily for a long time. Their descent that are still together. It's time for us to come together. And they have seen this obstacle that if you for instance, if you are in Canada, if a small business owner, they find it difficult to go to TD or CIBC to go and borrow money because the policy that they put together doesn't help our people. The way we do business, the way we do things, it doesn't help us. And these are the things that the African Union 6th region lobby with Afreximbank that what about the people in diaspora? What about African descent in diaspora? Right, that sometimes we don't always have a project in Africa. What about the project we have in Canada, the project we have in US, in UK, right? That will benefit our people. So Afreximbank have given the African Union 6th region mandate that every month that they are giving us money every month, give us so amounts of project per month. And they set up a group, a team only for African Union 6 regions, and we have a consultant that we help parachute that project and make it quick and make it happen. So we want to help your ideas. We want to help make your dream come true. Like Mr. Iman said, they really prioritize in the franchise, right? So it's right now that we should consider that when you own a business, you don't have to put your name on the business, right? For instance, when you 3 or 4 or 5 people can come together, they can buy a franchise, right? They can buy a franchise, and so that's mean that they will share the fund that it needs initial, and the deposit 20% deposit. And the good thing that they even accept they even accept if you have a property, right? So it doesn't even have to be cash. So they make it life so easier for us. So I really want us to seize this opportunity for us to not let this thing go by. Because honestly, I have never seen this kind of deal for a very, very long time. The Afreximbank, they want to help. They have the fund to even support a project even up to $200 million, right? So that's how they average their pocket. I don't know if you know much about Afreximbank story, right? It's owned by the 55 states in Africa. So it's a state bank. It's not an individual or commercial bank. So it's our own thing. But they have procedure, they have way of doing things. But please tell everyone you know. You don't have to give up on your dream. This is the time to let your dream comes to pass. And you don't have to have a franchise of billions of dollars. It's not everyone that have to buy McDonald's or KFC or Timothy's. You can start. There's a 300,000 franchise and even if it is a big franchise, you don't have to do it alone, right? 5 people can come together and form a new company and buy the franchise. They will honor it, and they work so fast because of if you come to Africa Union 6 region. So now the ANE, we are partnered with ANE. So any project you have, go through the ANE, and they have a consultant company that will be able to help us do the business plan, a solid business plan that will help us to put according to what Afreximbank require. Then when we have this business plan is submitted to us, and then we'll be able to now take it to Afreximbank. When every due diligence is being done, you sign and you get your fund, right? And you can do another one. So this is a very, very easy thing. And people of Africa and this have never had this kind of opportunity at their backyard before. Please don't let us miss this opportunity. Let us take opportunity and expand and better the life of ourselves and also of our children. Let's make our community strive. And not only, when you say the project, you don't have to have a project in North America or UK or Asia or any part of the world. Your project can be in Africa. Right now we have one project of building one client building a senior home in Ghana. So he's people of different, he lives in North America, but he has the project in Africa. So it can be vice versa. So, and also you might have a franchise that they want to take to Africa to start that franchise over there. So I'm telling you, they are not, they are very accommodating. That's what I wanted to say. And lastly, this is not about African Union 6 region. This is about the ECOSA. That is the one, ECOSA is part of the arms of African Union in Addis Ababa, but they are having that 20th anniversary in Ghana. So we are inviting everyone to be part of it. Please register. Let any executive leaders know if you are interested to go. This is where 55 countries, 55 leaders of African leaders will be there, and they have given African Union 6 regions a slot to address these leaders. This is a great opportunity. Let's go as a group, and please, at least by tomorrow or by Saturday, let us know if you are going to go. But if you cannot go, there's an opportunity you can sponsor somebody. So if you have a company but you want to sponsor, so if we are not going physically, then your company can be one of the sponsor, and it will be recognized. It will be one of the things that they are going to display over there as well. So you have opportunity, either your company goes in terms of the money, or you go physically as well. Or you can do both. You can go and also sponsor the program, as a team, going as a team. So there's so many things we want to do. So we need the fund for that program. This is a unique opportunity. They are giving us opportunity to meet with all African leaders. 55 of them will they be at Ghana in July, I think July 14 or so. So please let us know as soon as possible. Today or tomorrow, let us know if you'll be able to join us to go to Ghana. So I hand over to Mr. Emma. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I appreciate it. Looking forward to work with every one of you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the detailed explanation. There's one thing you said, which I want to emphasize on. And before I say that, there's a statement that says that the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity. I was speaking with a friend, a childhood friend on Sunday, and he told me something that was really surprising and disheartening at the same time. And he said that I think it was UK, there was a group that advanced the amount of $500 million, if I'm not mistaken, to Nigeria for some developmental goals. And it was a lot of effort to the extent that even when they were going to get the money, they had to tell the officials to please stay outside because of the number of people. But I don't know if it was after 3 or 5 years, the money was not used and had to be returned. And so I'm saying that because it's important we realize that while the opportunity is available, we don't know for how long this will be advanced, and it's best that we seize it. But I have a couple of questions or clarifications, and maybe not just for myself, but on behalf of others. It's my understanding from what you've said, Premier, that there are different scenarios. What's most important is that this project benefits people of African descent. So even if they're in Bahamas, as was the case, or Barbados, as was the case recently, where a flight was organized from Barbados to Lagos, Nigeria, so what I'm hearing is that whether the people of African descent reside in Africa or out of Africa is irrelevant. What's important is that we can qualify that these initiatives, these projects, will benefit them. That's one. Number two, when we talk franchise, often than not, we think of commercial entities. Will this also work for non-profits? And I'll give you an example of what I'm saying. I live in the town of Milton, and recently founded an organization called the Black Community of Milton. And the purpose for that is to provide, there are many associations, national associations that reside in Canada. Some of them are called, have Nigerian names. Some of them have African Caribbean. But for the large part, many of these organizations only address what Maslow's hierarchy of needs refers to as levels 1 to 3. Physiological needs, safety needs, and love and belonging. They don't touch self-esteem and self-actualization. And what are these? When you've been here in Canada for a while, you are no longer under threat. The job security is addressed. There's an opportunity for you to own your business. There's an opportunity for you to even elect to be, nominate yourself to be either a counselor or some of those things. There's no group as of today that is focused on that. So that's what the Black Community of Milton wanted to do within the town of Milton. But after a further reflection, we've even scaled it. And now we're considering changing that to the Black Excellence in Action. That will be the name of the organization, but now start with the Milton chapter, where we'll develop a template that will franchise across different cities and towns in Milton. So my question to you is, what I've just described will be of benefit to Africans as well as Caribbeans, but it's a non-profit and not a regular franchise that is commercial. What would you say in this category? So I'll ask you two questions. One is the one related. I've even forgotten my first question, to be honest.
I remember. Okay, that will answer it. All right. Okay. So thank you so much for your questions. So that number one, yeah. So irrespective of where you are, it doesn't matter. Either you are here and your project is in Africa, or your project is here and your project will benefit people of African descent here. So that is what they're talking about. Doesn't matter. So, for instance, if you say that we have a franchise for Timothy, for instance, now, so that you can say that the people that you are going to employ will be African descent. So that will benefit in terms of job creation, will benefit people of African descent the same way that the Indians are doing, right? So, and not only that, you as a business owner, which is a person of African descent, it will benefit you, and which will be able to benefit your family. So, and that's what they are saying, that it has to be something to benefit the African descent. Let me say the example of one of the projects they have. I may a little bit answer the number two, your question number two. So they sponsored a project in New York, right? Is a art studio, right? So you would think that's what we are talking about. It doesn't, I mean, they don't only specialize on the franchise, they do everything as well. They only love a franchise because they are talking about the system that they know they've tested that is working, unlike the new one. But if you have a very convinced a business plan that this, even though it's new, it can work. So that is the situation of the project they have in the in New York. So they help with this woman to open a art studio in New York. But the agreement was that she will be able to open a studio for other African descent to come and display their products. You see, so so now let me answer your question directly on number two. So they don't do non-profit organization. They don't do that. So because at the end of the day, they are bank. They want their money back. So you still have to pay. Well, despite with a very, very ridiculous, I mean, very little interest rate. So, but at the end of the day, we still get their money back. So they don't do much of the non-profit organization, but anything art and this thing they promote. They talks about there was one of the Genevieve film in Nigeria that they sponsor. So because they know at the end of the day when they sell the movie, they're going to get money out of it. So it has to be something of business oriented. So notwithstanding, if you package it in a way that this, okay, number one, that is the number one criteria have to be, you have to benefit of people, people of African descent. But the second part of it has to be profitable, right? So if you can package it that even as a non-profit organization, you want to package it in a way of business that's going to bring an income, I know that they will consider we can help you to put it forward for them to them. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, and you've answered them very clearly. Thank you very much for the clarification. And I guess we'll talk about that at some point. Somebody did ask whether there's benefit for people outside of Milton. Let me say very categorically, this is not, the audience here is not just for one town. We're talking of an opportunity that is available to all Africans in diaspora wherever they are on the globe. So this is a global initiative. We're just privileged to have African Union Region 6 been facilitating this because of the recent memorandum of understanding that was signed with Afrexim. So that's really what's happening. Okay, let me say, is there another question? I see it in like a comment. Are there priority sectors? Well, from what I hear, it's less about the sectors. I mean, the only thing I've heard repeatedly is that they want it to be franchised, or they prefer, not that they want to be franchised. But as long as you can demonstrate that whatever you're doing would, one, benefit people of African descent, and two, you are sure that they will get their money back. Because regardless of the bank, I think the first thing that they want to be sure that their investment in you are bankable as an organization. And I'm sure that with that, you'll be able to take advantage. What I also believe, which has been alluded to, is the fact that Afrexim Bank's interest rates will be much lower than what you probably will get at the commercial lending rate. So that's another benefit. But in terms of the availability of the money, they don't have the money to make it happen. The bureaucracies often make things slow, but thanks to the support and the intervention of African Union Region 6, the expectation is that this will be much faster. We have a dedicated consultant in Afrexim Bank who will work with us to ensure it's successful. All right, let me move on to the next slide. So following the engagement with African African Union, they did engage us at ANA Global to support with a number of items. One is identifying prospects for this project financings with emphasis on franchises, as has been said. Second is qualification. The fact that you identify does not mean you will qualify based on a number of criteria. So that's something that needs to be done. And also developing the business plan to ensure that you actually package yourself properly is also another requirement that is largely needed. As we know, even the commercial banks in Canada do not develop business plans for us. If you're a business owner, you need to develop it yourself, and you need to find the resources. And then also support with administrative activities that pertain to the application process. So ANA Global, as we know, is a social enterprise that facilitates entrepreneurship development for Black-owned and operated businesses, but ANA Global is limited in scope of what it can do. We have a large group of people, entrepreneurs. We provide the basic things, the identification process we can do, qualification process we can do, but business plan, we're not configured to develop a business plan for you. And that's why we're engaging TenderMate Consulting, which is a management consulting practice that will do that for you. TenderMate Consulting itself, as you say, is an organization that provides a lot of different offerings, from organization design to business process design, but specifically, we also provide solutions for small and medium scale enterprises. And so developing the business plan is one of the things we do. But in order to put your mind at rest, what we've even done is to go a step further to engage a partner, and that's a very recent thing, just to also let African Union know how seriously we've taken this. We've engaged a partner in the organization that has credible experience, not just as a consultant, but has hands-on experience working in Canada. We engaged a service of an organization called ADEX Consulting. Their lead consultant has worked 10 years in the banking sector of Canada, more, I think the latter part with Scotiabank and also with TD Warehouse, and was responsible, worked in the financial risk department and some other things. And is a wonderful gentleman. Even before he came to Canada, he was working with an organization that many of us may have heard of. Financial Derivatives is owned by a man called Bismarck Ruan. So Bismarck Ruan, he worked on that team with Bismarck Ruan before he came to Canada. So it's somebody I've met, somebody I'm comfortable with, and it's somebody I would like to speak now. So Ade, please, can you tell us a little bit about your experience and what you bring to the table? Let me see if I can look for your resume, not resume, for your profile.
All right, thank you so much.
Please go ahead. Okay, sorry, let me look for a profile then. Let me share it as you're talking. I know I have it. I'm just trying to remember where. Sent to me via email.
Oh, you can just give me the hosting rights, the sharing rights. I could just
Excellent.
I could share from here.
That's the best case scenario. So let me just do that right on time. Thank you for that. Was a beautiful. I didn't think of that. Okay. Yes, you can go ahead and share.
All right, fantastic. Okay, let me just. First of all, I want to thank Premier for the opportunity and the privilege of being here today. My name is Adedayo Olusegun, and yes, when I heard about this opportunity, I was thrilled. I was thrilled because for over the past 15 years plus, we have been looking forward to this type of opportunity. So thank you, Premier Vivian, for all your dedication, your hard work, and special thanks also to Emmanuel for all the coordination. Just very briefly, my career started Canada. It's going to be close to 20 years in being in Canada now. Before then, like Emmanuel mentioned, I was an assistant general manager and Group Head of Investment Banking and Research at Financial Derivatives Limited in Lagos. Before I came, Financial Derivatives is a leading investment and financial services firm. We specialize in origination of capital for mid-sized businesses and companies quoted on the stock exchange. And right there, even from the domain of our West African markets, we were managing domestic international portfolios of investment domiciled in North America. And that was actually part of the segue into my entry into Canada. My first career in Canada was with TD Waterhouse, and I started with the investment wealth management side. Just by way of correction, Emmanuel, I was with the Royal Bank for 10 years plus, close to 11 years in commercial banking and helping small, mid-sized businesses. And a total portfolio range for that size of the market is about $30 million. After my commercial banking world, I worked in the nonprofit sector, looking after fundraising, resource development, and grant writing. So I am a grant writer as well. But what we bring to bear is the opportunity to leverage business banking or mindset in bridging the gap between the social enterprise level and the mainstream banking sector. That actually was the driving factor why we launched ADEX Consulting. ADEX Consulting is a multi-purpose consulting firm. And what we do essentially is we provide the capital, grant, loans, and funding through the financial institution. We are your foot soldiers, Premier, that will be there to anchor our people, work with them to develop their business plan, consistent with the standards of the domestic and international financial markets. That's our key. Apart from the consulting, I'm also a licensed financial advisor. So we bring all those expertise to bear. Our slogan is to help you and your team and our community discover, activate various opportunities. These are the various scope of our focus: business entrepreneurship, nonprofit, social enterprise value creation, strategic financial planning, and anything that has to do with funding, loans, and grants. So that's the specialty of ADEX Consulting. We will not just work with our people to host business entrepreneurship information session, developing their business plan, their project proposal, making sure they are bankable to meet the standard required. So we have relationship with virtually all the banks. I'm a product of that industry here, and they are relying on us to prepare and package these businesses. We also link them up with the ecosystem partners in order to facilitate this. One of the most powerful testimony of what you are doing, Premier, is this, and I'll tell you, about 4 or 5 years ago, or thereabout, the Canadian government came out with a specialized funding program for the Black community. As a commercial banker in this market, you could have imagined how happy I would have been. And now there are dedicated resources, funding available. But to think that we now have an origination of capital from Africa that can assist our people in diaspora, that is the icing on the cake. And we are so delighted. We're very, very proud of you. Thank you for everything you're doing. So whether you're looking at brand new existing businesses, franchise, or commercial operation, that's it. And the interesting part of this, the last 5 years of my experience in commercial banking in Canada, I was a franchise specialist. So you can imagine how happy I am.
Wow, this
Yeah,
is
exactly.
I'm so glad that
yes,
I
yes, Premier.
attended this meeting.
Yes, I was a franchise specialist at senior managers at different point in time, looking after all these opportunities. So you can imagine now we have a platform to actually bridge the gap between the mainstream market now and not just the social enterprise level here, but now in diaspora globally. So whether you're looking at international investors planning to launch or grow business anywhere, whether you are looking at the federal government or the nominated investors program, whether you're looking at people who are looking to start, scale, expand, restructure, right? Or revamp existing businesses, that's our forte. That's what we bring to bear. And everything we do has to do with making sure that it fits the parameters of the domestic and the international market, ranging from making sure we listen to our people, hear their stories, relate to their struggle, represent them, be their advocate, be in the boardroom and speak the language that these corporate institutions want, whether it's domestic and international. This is what will give our people comfort and confidence to know that you got a team in place that got their best interest at hand, making sure that all due diligence are properly done, making sure that we liaise with institutions to make sure the home of best fit, pre-qualification assessment, due diligence from application stage up till approval, forms to fill, documentations, criteria, all those things, and ongoing advisory. So whether it's before, during, and after the process, we've got our people covered. Everything starts with a plan. So we've got the framework in place. We were doing all this within the framework of the last couple of years, but to know that we have all this in place now, we are delighted. We've even gone ahead to design special business plan packages for our people when they are ready. We have a place where people who want to learn how to develop their business plan, we have a plan for them. For people who don't have the time to do that, but they can provide us with the synopsis, we'll work with them like a joint teamwork. But for those that are busy, multitasking, not a problem. We will just work with them to make themselves available because they know the stories, they can craft it, they can speak to it. After all, it's their gift. Nobody knows the business better than them. But what we will give to our people is respect and dignity. Walk around their schedule, listen to them, hear their story, craft it, and represent them better. That is the opportunity we have. We will work with them, not just from their business plan stage. We will stay with them through the application. Like I said, information required, documentation, guiding, submission, and follow through, and also making sure that until they get approval, we're with them every step of the way. If the bank needs any amendment, questions, clarifications, we work together as a team. This is a fantastic opportunity. I'm so privileged, and thank God for all the work you're doing. We are very proud of you, and I pray that God will continue to give you strength and grace to keep on. Do not let anything in any way discourage you, overwhelm you. You are not alone. We've got you covered, and by the special grace of God, we shall be celebrated and promoted. Thank you so much for the opportunity
All right,
to
thank
share.
you very much. So let me move on with the.
Thank you, Mr. Adebayo. We will get in touch. I will get in touch with you through Mr. Emmanuel.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Premier. And it's Adedayo Olusegun.
Adedayo, sorry.
Yes. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Thanks, Premier.
Okay.
And
Yes,
thank you, Emmanuel,
you.
for the opportunity. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, you're welcome. What I want to ask is that if you're interested in the recording of this, please provide your email address immediately on the chat so that we can make that happen. Your email address, maybe your name and your email address, and let us know so that we can provide that to you. Okay, moving on. So Tendermint Consulting is the organization that I also lead outside of ANA Global. We've been registered since 2017. And I think I've provided some of the things we do. But I will also say that I'm the principal consultant for Tendermint Consulting, and just a bit of my background for many people know, but just in case you're not aware, prior to coming to Canada, I worked 12 years with Accenture in various levels, the technology and also management consulting departments. I also was on the board of the American Business Council, which represents American companies' interests in Nigeria. I was there for 2 years prior to coming to Canada. And through that, I gained the experience to run, that's largely where I got experience to be able to found what is now known as ANA Global. ANA Global was founded last year, June 16th, and we had our first year anniversary on Sunday. It's a social enterprise that facilitates professionalism and economic viability among Black-owned operated businesses. I specialize beyond the technology, which was my forte back in Accenture. I specialize in organizational design and development. I've recently had an interest in small and medium scale enterprises, and I'm working on that. But beyond the business plan, which I do very well, I'm also trying to push for better representation of the Black community in Milton, in Canada. So I've begun to engage right now. with thanks to on the platform of ANA Global. So permit me, I'm straddling the two now. On the platform of ANA Global, we've been able to get a very good relationship, so working relationship with the mayors of Milton, Oakville, Brampton, working on Hamilton. I'm meeting the mayor of Burlington next week. And that's deliberate because we want to meet people at the right levels to ensure that we can open the doors at the right levels. And we're very happy with what we've been able to do in just 1 year of operation with ANA Global. But with like I did say earlier on, ANA Global is constrained in the number of services it can provide. For those of you who may have heard of ANA Global, we're not just a WhatsApp group. It's very important that I emphasize that. And that's because there are many WhatsApp groups that Black community people participate in. If for any reason you're here and you're the ANA Global platform and all you have been exposed to is a WhatsApp group, I really want to say from the depth of my heart that you are underutilizing what could be a great opportunity. Just on Monday, was it Monday or Tuesday? It was Monday. I was at a place called Tech Place. Halton's Tech Place is easily the biggest hub for incubators and all sorts of resources that have been made available by the government, but which people don't even know. I live in Milton, and Burlington is probably 20 minutes away, and I had no clue. But thankfully, I've been able to engage them, and they've engaged us to be a partner referral on a partner referral program, so we can admit members to their program. My goal is to ensure that any place that a Caucasian can enter into in this Canada, a Black person can do and be comfortable. Earlier today, Adedayo and I were at a place, Staples Studio, where we had an event in April, and it was a networking event. People came in from the Oakville film production. I don't remember. They have an event tomorrow, and they had some sort of session. There were a lot of people there, but I don't think there were more than 3 of us that were Blacks. 2 of us are here. And so those are the things I want to be deliberate about. So while we're solving for this project, my passion is to ensure that we all step up our game because there's a lot of opportunity in Canada. And I do want to say that whereas it is true that many people talk about institutional racism and all that, my experience, especially in the last 2 years, is that the major challenge we have is not racism, is inter-fighting, what you call friendly fire between ourselves. And I really want to encourage us, let's work together to ensure that we solve for one another and not undercut each other. There's a lot of opportunity, but we need to support. The Caucasians in this country don't know the difference between Nigerians and Cameroonians and Ghanaians. They only see Black. Let us work together and make things work for ourselves and our children to come. All right, let me move on to the next slide. This is the opportunity to ask any questions before we go to next steps. Is there any question? Anybody has a question that has not yet been addressed? Oh, that's a surprise. So all the issues have been addressed. Let me see. There's a chat here. What did the person say? Or was it the email that I asked you to? Okay, so somebody has sent her email address. Just one person is interested. That's surprising. Just one person is interested in the recording. Okay, no problem. Is there any question before I move to the next slide? Okay, so the next slide is next steps. The immediate action is that we would like to, if you have any project that has been mentioned, please reach out. I probably should have provided an email address here. My email address, let me just type it, is emmanuel.adebola@anaglobal.org. And let's use the subject, under the subject, so I can easily know it. Subject, project financing. Just use the project subject project financing, so it makes it easy for me to categorize any email that belongs to that, and then we'll take it from there. All right. So I have 2 emails. No problem. I will send you the video when it's ready, so you can watch. And because there's a lot of information here that I'm sure you will benefit from if you do want to work on it. And perhaps you're still thinking, looking for partners. We can also discuss. As part of TenderMate Consulting, I provide consulting services on Wednesdays and Fridays. I just book I don't know if you've seen the flyer, but just book a session and we can talk about it and see how we can support you in that regard. So we're going to follow each of these 5 steps to ensure that we're successful in what we want to do. As we round up, I want to remind you of what Vivian said about it is the 20th year anniversary of ECOSOC. ECOSOC is the economic arm of AU, which was founded on the 4th of July, 3rd or 4th of July, 2004. So next month will be exactly 20 years. So there's a celebration of that. But I think the catch for me is that we get to have I said we, because I'll be there. We get to have an opportunity to speak on behalf of the 55 heads of state of African states. I think that's a wonderful, fantastic opportunity. But as has been said, there are 2 modes or 3 modes. One is that you are available to go. AU has kindly given me 5 slots. So if you're interested, let me know. We can talk about that. And then secondly, if you are unable to go, you can be a sponsor of the trip and will ensure that your logo, your organization is well represented at the place. And the third is you go and you're also a sponsor. That's the full package. That's also available. All right. Any questions before we wrap this up? Perhaps I should also say that this is not intended to be a one-off. Hopefully we'll have, I'll need some partners. Oh, Alberta, okay, no problem. So what was I saying? This is not expected to be a one-off. We'll probably have another information session before long, probably to talk about different aspects, but I hope that even with this that we've done, will generate the interest. And if you know anybody who you hear along the line that may be doing something, please send them our way so we can provide them the information, because this information is good. We don't want to hoard it or keep it to ourselves. I want to make it available to as many as have the capacity, the willingness, and the ability to do it. All right. Can I, if you don't mind, are you all okay to share your videos before we wrap this up? Because I see names, or I know some names. I see a Felix, for instance. I'm not sure I know who you are, Felix. I see Ade. I see Faye. I know Faye. I don't know if it's the same person. I see Christopher. I don't know if it's Christopher in the US. Christopher, I know is in the US. I don't know if it's the one. So let's get to know. Onome, is the same Onome I thought, the one in Alberta. So good to see you. Kemi Olomo, I mean, your name is so unique. I know you are the same person. Kemi Olomola Shijuade. So great to see you all. I'm Professor Stella from Kitchener. I see you too. Great to see everybody. And I'm guessing you're not comfortable to share your videos. That's why you're not, which is okay, really.
I'm in a dark room.
Yeah, that's okay. I saw your name, so I know it's you.
Thank you.
And I see Kemi Olomola Shijuade as well. Great to see everybody, and wishing you all the best. All right, you are in a dark room and your glasses are shining like a let me stop the recording so I don't say anything that is not stop recording.